We were sad, but Canada taught us how to smile. We were homeless, but Canada became our new and lovely home. We were lost, but Canada found us. I don't want to be so long for you.
I'm Blair Malazdrewich here at the Ration Meal event marking World Refugee Day. I'm joined by Jim Cornelius from the Canadian Foodgrains Bank. Tell me what this event all is about.
Well, today is World Refugee Day, and we're just wanting to highlight the plight of refugees around the world. And so we're here together with two of our members, the Mennonite Central Committee and Canadian Lutheran World Relief, who work closely with us in addressing refugee problems around the world. And they also are very involved in welcoming refugees here in Canada as well.
So you recently just returned back to Canada. Where were you?
I was recently in Jordan and Lebanon, where you have large numbers of refugee populations that have fled across the border from Syria, the conflict there. We were meeting with refugee families and also with our partner groups on the ground that are delivering very badly needed assistance into those two countries.
Now, millions of people are forcibly displaced. What is that number?
Well, the latest numbers that just came out this morning are 65 million people have been forcibly displaced, either due to conflict or persecution, and that's 5 million more than was the case even just a year ago, and it's much higher than it was 5 years ago.
Now, what's the important role that Foodgrains plays?
Well, most of those refugees or displaced people actually stay inside their own countries. They get displaced inside their own countries, or they move across borders, and as soon as you've been moved, you lose a job, you don't have your housing, you have all these needs, and it takes support from outside groups and from local governments and local host communities to provide the housing people need, the food they need, begin to reestablish some of their lives. In some cases, they're able to work and start to get employment to feed their families. In places like Jordan and Lebanon, they're not allowed to work, so they're dependent on support being provided to them, otherwise they're not able to feed their families.
So what is this meal symbolic of?
Of the very modest meals that refugees often eat. When we go to these places, they have very limited resources, and so they'll eat just the basics, some rice, some beans. Rarely do they have enough money for meat, or even sometimes vegetables of a high stuff. So this is a modest meal that's quite typical of what a refugee family or displaced family may be eating on a regular basis. And even then, they'll be doing well if they can have 3 meals a day rather than 1 or 2.
And what can people do to help?
Well, all our agencies are constantly raising money to support the work we're doing overseas. Last year, 39% of our programming internationally was for people displaced by conflict or persecution. And so the donations we receive, the matching grants we receive from government allow us to provide assistance to over 500,000 refugees and displaced people last year.
Thank you so much for this, Jim.
You're welcome.